Do you like difficult games? Do you like very difficult games? Do you like Dark Souls difficult games? Well, it seems like you clicked on the right video. Grimlord is exactly that. It's a Dark Souls style VR game. Let's get into it. But first, like always, the settings. 3, 2, 1, game time. When you start the game, you don't select how you want to play. So straight to the settings we go. Under General, you can change different things, for example, your stance and your height. In the movement system, you will find inertia, which, to be honest, deserves a simple explanation since not everyone knows the term. It means that movement is more physical realistic, where motion gradually slows down instead of stopping abruptly. I'm using that, but I don't see or feel a difference to the other options. Under Interface, you can change the language of the game if you want to have a full body or just hands, and if you need a vignette. Graphics is self-explanatory. But I must say, the first time I played the game, it ran incredibly bad. I fixed it by changing the Steam VR resolution down to 75%, but strangely enough, it didn't affect the clarity while playing. Audio is also self-explanatory. Alright, enough settings, let's play the game. But first, we have to create a save file. Put in the name, choose our type, and if you have not gone through the settings yourself, you can change everything here. Oh wow, the game made me smaller. Well, thank you. You start in a cell and learn the basics. Left stick to move and strafe, right stick to turn. If you press A on your right controller, you do a dodge. But you only have 2 dodges, which I personally do not like. If you press B on your right controller, you jump. And if you don't want to use your left stick to run, which is done by pressing the stick in, you can also swing your arms by pressing forward. If you press B on the left controller, you open the menu and can check your attributes. If you want to increase them, well, we will talk about that a bit later. One more thing about the settings. There are 3 move types: controller, body and camera. Right now I'm using controller. That means you move where your controller is pointed to. Let's try camera. It seems like you move where your HMD camera is pointing at, meaning where you are looking at. Okay, what about body? It goes where my body is pointing, but in VR I turn my head or my whole body. So isn't it the same like camera? I seriously don't know. Anyway, time for some combat. When you hold your weapon in the direction the enemy is trying to hit you, you parry that hit. You can hear that it doesn't sound synchronous. That's due to the 150% resolution scale right now. It will change later in the video. When you defeat an enemy, you get meta, which is your currency for everything. For the Dark Souls players, those are your souls, and weapons do not break. You have 4 slots for weapons. The left and right side of your belt, where you can only store one-hand weapons. Left and right shoulder, where you can only store shields, 2-hand weapons, bows and ammunitions. You also have the so-called satchel, which is your pouch for potions. This tattoo shows your HP, mana and stamina. If you don't want to look at your wrist every time you want to check your bars, change the UI and the interface to convenient. The game has, thankfully, no jump scares or anything like that, but sometimes it's extremely dark and I can't see anything. You will also find materials in the game, so you can craft better weapons, which you actually have to do, because the enemies do not drop any weapons that you can store or use, which would actually be cool if they did, but you don't need to craft or enhance armor. And as far as I could see it, you also can't enhance your weapons. When you are low on HP, you hear this sound. And if you want to heal up, you need to take out a health potion, take off the cork, and then chuck it down. You can also climb, but be careful. First of all, there is fall damage. And second, just because you have your hand where you want to grab doesn't mean that you have grabbed. So better check twice before you fall down and hurt your ankles. You can't save in the middle of the game. You have to go to these, let's call them teleport altars. There you have to grab the yellow stone and squeeze it in your hand by pressing the trigger. You will then rest and everything will reset. Alright, the meaty part of the game, boss fights. I will show you 3 bosses, but not the fight, so you can enjoy the difficulty and suffering while you die over and over again. Or not, maybe you will always kill them in the first try. Oh, and don't think you could open the menu, drink something, come back and then fight. Oh no, opening the menu does not pause the game. If you want to pause it, press the system button on the 12 knuckles. Bosses do have 2 bars, health and poise, or balance, whatever you prefer. When the poise bar is full, you can hit them while they are staggered. The staggering duration depends on the boss, so don't worry, it's not like 1 second and he's back. When you die, it looks like this and you start back at the teleport altar. Oh, and your meta? Well, it is where you died, and when you die again, it's all gone. If you want to get your meta back, what you always should, if it's not 0, go near and grab it. Okay, something unique and pretty cool. You can use your sword to climb. I can recommend to flip the blade and ram it into the wooden wall, but that only works on specific wooden walls, not everywhere. There are also necklaces you can find and wear. Grab it and put it on your chest. If you want to switch or take the necklace off, you have to grab the necklace on your chest and pull it forward so you take it off. Okay, now you want to get back down, but because there's no crouch button, you have to crouch for real. So either find a safe way down or take the fall damage. The NPCs are also voiced, and I must say it's not bad.
Stop right there if you know any better. I'd turn back if I were you. Jump off the ledge if you have to.
When you grab the bow and put the quiver on your back, take an arrow out, which feels weird when it's pointing up, not forward, then shoot at something and miss the target but hit the wall, the arrow gets bent. That is an interesting idea and I do like it. So you probably want to know how to increase the stats. Well, there's a maiden, and in order to do that, place your hand on that glowy orb thingy and wait. But don't worry, only the first time you do that she talks that much.
Stand before the darkness and strive for the light. Let this brand guide your heart, soothe your mind, protect your body. Let it connect you with the matters around, bright or grim. Let it impel you to sense more, feel more, yearn for more.
Okay, a quick overview of the talent tree. You need meta to buy talent points, and then click on the talent you want to buy. Left side is 1 and 2 hand weapon damage, right side is magic damage, top is bow damage, and bottom is extra HP and mana regeneration. So let's say you want to switch one skill point for whatever reason. You can't just change it. You have to remember your whole tree, reset it, and then replace your talents. It would be really nice if we could get the talent point back by just clicking the last connected talent again. There's a room where you can store and switch weapons, armor and necklaces. To check or switch your weapons, go to the right stand, click on the weapon icon, scroll if you have a lot of stored weapons, and then click on spawn. If you want to store your item, just throw it into the chest. And last but not least, choose an armor of your liking. Go near it, use both hands and grab it. Again at the teleportation altar, you now also see a blue shard. This shard is for teleporting you to your already unlocked altar, or also called bonfire. Grab it, hold the trigger, and let's go. Something is fishy. I have changed everything to high, except shadows. And it still looks like that? Why? Maybe if you reset the area, it's gonna change. Let's try that real quick. Nope, it does not change anything. I don't get it. But still, it looks impressive in VR. The big castle in the background gives you Anor londo vibes, doesn't it? Oh, I forgot to mention that there is no map in this game, so you better remember where you died. Even though it's somewhat linear, you still can get lost pretty easily. Rarely, parrying doesn't seem to work correctly. Right here you could see that my sword was up, but the attack, even though you could hear the clash of metal and see the sparks, came through. If you look close enough and you search for it, you will also find these papers. Those are schemes for the weapons you can craft. I really like the way you have to read them. After you have unlocked it, you can let it go and it just disappears. And as you know, I love these immersive tiny details. Okay, I talked about the boss poise, remember? Let's talk about your poise. You also have poise, and whenever you parry, your poise meter goes up, which will make you lose the weapon you parry with when it's full. Which can be quite a game changer in a fight when all of a sudden, without you knowing, your shield is gone. One thing that I don't like is that you can swing your sword with low effort and do damage to the enemies, so you don't need to do a real swing. I wish that would be different. Did I just dodge an arrow by moving my head there? There's also magic, which I will show you later, but you will find emeralds which are needed to craft a specific magic weapon. Enemies do get tougher and stronger, and it feels like they also get smarter, but I don't know. For me, the spear knights are the most difficult enemies, apart from bosses of course. There are also hidden treasure chests, and I have to say it just feels unnatural to loot them. You have to open them with one hand, because they always come back down if you don't do it. Then grab one item at a time, maybe store it, and then open the chest again. It would be wonderful if we could open the chest how we want and it would stay open. Of course you can purchase items from merchants, if you find them. You can't see it here because the text is too far on the bottom, but it says that I have to nod if I want to buy it. To be honest, that's a cool idea, but you have to really go back and forth with your nodding to buy it. A little less would be appreciated so it feels more natural. Alright, something that I definitely do not like. Let's say you have the crossbow or a bow and you also found a quiver and you want to try it out. But now you are like, it's not my style, I'd rather use something else. And now you want to stash your shield or two-hand weapon where your quiver is. Well, that doesn't work. So far so good. Now you would just unequip the quiver and stash your weapon, right? But you can't just unequip the quiver. You have to get rid of all of the arrows or bolts and then you can grab the empty quiver and get rid of it. The second boss is a golem. If you go back to the boss you have defeated, in this case the golem, and you see this blue shard, do not grab it and do not use the trigger, except you are intending to fight the boss again. Would have been nice to know that beforehand. Off to the blacksmith. If you have the materials and you want a new weapon, you can craft it here. Weapons do have stats, so you can see what is better and what is not. To see the stats you have to select the weapon on the rack, then move towards it and then hold out your hand towards the weapon. But how do I know what stats my current weapon has? I don't. Well, I couldn't find a way to see it. If you could, please tell us in the comments. So the only option for me was to find my weapon on the rack and hold my hand at it. Then remember the stats, all 12 of them, choose a weapon I think I will like, go there again and then cross-reference them in my head. Wow. It would be nice in a huge quality of life update if the stats would be here. Or on a separate wooden list right next to the material one, or to let us see the difference directly. So right now I can just say, choose the latest parts on the weapon rack for your weapon and hope for the best. I think it's time for some magic. At first the rubby. In order to perform a magic spell, you have to hold the trigger and move your staff in a specific way. To cast a fireball, move it like this. To cast a stronger spell, do the same like you did for the fireball, but don't let the trigger go. Hold it, raise your staff over your head and then slash downwards to cast a spell. Oh, and if you kill the NPCs, the game is over. When you find a new necklace and you want to switch it with your old one, and the old one is the one you found at the beginning of the game, remember, when you use it by holding trigger, you will be teleported back to the last teleport altar and the level will be reset. I didn't want to do it, but I didn't know what would happen. Some kind of pop-up would have been nice. Something like, are you sure you want to teleport back to the last checkpoint? That will reset the level. And of course, I also found a bug or a glitch. But because there's no map, I can't say where it is directly. But on the walls, there's one room that is literally pitch black, where I had to use my sword to find the walls. When I moved back to find out where I have to go, I came across this. It is very difficult to see because of the armor, but my character is moving upwards instead of being ground leveled, even though there's nothing to make me do that. Alright, let me show you the other magic skills. Next on the list is Emerald. And now the Sapphire. There's one more magic skill, but I didn't find it. It's holy. Looks like you have to find and see that for yourself. And the third boss. Wow. Okay. Yeah, okay. And that's it for this video. I hope I could give you a good overview of the game, how it feels, how it plays, and what to expect. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button. subscribe, and leave a comment. These things help greatly with discoverability. You know, life is tough, and it's not getting any easier. There's always something new you want to achieve, and always something trying to knock you down. But if you stay down, you'll never get there. So get back up, knock off the dust, and go for it. It might take time, but sooner or later you will win. Believe in yourself.